Grand Rising. Happy Thursday. I pray everybody's having a positive, productive start to your day today. If not, I pray that your angels, ancestors, spirit guides, and of course the Most High help you with that today. I also pray that He clothes us in His armor from head to toe, that He strengthens our discernment and guides our steps as we go throughout this day. I also want to send loving, healing energy to anybody that's still in recovery from the storms. Anybody dealing with displacement, homelessness, depression, anxiety, addiction, loss of a loved one, please know that I'm just sending you loving, healing energy. We're going to jump right into it and get our chakra wisdom affirmation card for the day, get our incense lit, and go from there. Hope everybody's having a good day so far today. It's cold, but the sun is shining, so I'm thankful for the sunshine. I did see my red-tailed hawk this morning. She was out enjoying the sunshine as well. I got a very up-close view of her. It was through the window. I wasn't outside when she flew by, but third chakra, solar plexus, self-worth, and self-esteem. I believe that would be lemongrass for the solar plexus. Let's see. Yes. Lemongrass. As always, shout out to Dollar Tree for the incense. If you don't have a Dollar Tree in your local area, you can order them online. It is Elegant, what is it? Elegant Essentials Aromatherapy. This one's kind of hard to see because of the yellow print. All right. Self-worth and self-esteem. All right. I honor myself by doing things that please me, not only those that please others. I'm empowered as I release the need to live up to other people's unrealistic expectations of me. When I respect and approve of myself, others will naturally do the same. I teach others how to treat and respect me by how I treat and respect myself. I know I am worthy of love and respect. The boundaries I create with others acknowledge my self-worth. All right. Self-worth, self-esteem, setting boundaries, not only with others, but with yourself. Our grief affirmation for the day: if it feels too hard, I will allow myself to just have a day. I will drink water, feed myself, and keep breathing. It doesn't have to be a good, bad, sad, or happy day, just a day. That's enough for right now. All right, we'll get a verse of the day prayer card. I know I am worthy of love and respect. The boundaries I create with others acknowledge my self-worth. Boundaries are very important in every area of life. Personal, work, friends, family. That's the same one we got yesterday. Psalm 89:9. Obviously didn't do a very good job shuffling. Ephesians 5:2. and walk in the way of love, just as Christ loved us and gave himself up for us. We'll pull up that scripture. If you haven't seen it already, I did the first evening devotional last night. I very much enjoyed it. It's a nice addition uh, to what we already have on the channel. All right, Ephesians is page 302 of the New Testament. And then chapter 5, verse 2. And walk in love, as Christ also hath loved us, and hath given himself for us an offering and a sacrifice to God for a sweet-smelling savor. So once again, very much the topic of love for the day, love for ourselves, love for our fellow man, love for our Creator, love for our family, friends, and even our enemies. All right. We'll get affirmation from the Wild Offering Oracle, and then we'll get into the Mary Magdalene. With the grief affirmation, I think it's interesting that it specifically mentions drinking water, feeding yourself, self-care, deep breathing. We do have some breathing exercises on the yoga channel, Workout Buddy, SoddyPixie. Sometimes just being aware of your breathing can make a big difference. A lot of times we don't realize the effect that it has on us. Confirmation. I do have the window cracked a little bit just to let some fresh air in, even though it's chilly outside. Look at that, all three in one go. Striving, abundance, and impatience. That striving just keeps wanting to come out. We've been seeing that a lot lately. Eventually, the individual ego's drive to make things happen falls away, replaced with a relaxed, trusting openness to answers as they arise. Thank you, Divine, for letting me move with the flow. Abundance. Divine Beloved, please show me how to feel fully deserving to receive. I release my ego's plan and I'm open to being a vehicle for abundance. And impatience. My life is unfolding in divine timing. All delays are beneficial. I'm always at the right place at the right time. The ego is mentioned twice. It's also something that comes up in the Mary Magdalene cards a lot. The 7 powers of the ego. Being patient with divine timing. Patience is something that I'm continually being taught in my life. It's definitely not something that comes natural to me. Going with the flow. That's something that I definitely had to learn. I think a lot of us do. And then feeling deserving of the things that do come to us. That has a lot to do with self-love, self-respect, self-worth, self-esteem. Our chakra affirmation for the day. All right, let's get some Mary wisdom for today. I haven't done the morning devotional yet. I'll do that after I do this live. The anointed, the seventh power, the anointed. I rise with only more soul. I rise with only more soul. And then the seventh power, anger is information. Judgment on the bottom of the deck. The whole point is to be human. I believe that's a new one. The other two I think we've gotten before. The good on the bottom of the deck. The first power on the top of the deck. Darkness makes vision possible. Let's see if we can get something else. The anointed and the seventh power. I feel like we've gotten those before. The true human. We've definitely gotten that one several times. I always think of the strength card when we get that. I am fully human and fully divine. The third power, humility, is my greatest strength. And the fifth power, I am a body and a soul. All right. We're going to start with judgment because I think that's a new one that we haven't gotten before. I know it takes me a while to find them. I'm sorry. Eventually, it'll get easier to find them. The whole point is to be human. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. The tar, the thick honey sludge of what keeps us bound in any of the seven powers, is the judgment we hold against ourselves for what we're going through. Judgment of our own humanity is the single greatest obstacle to our spiritual growth. When we get to the third power in Mary's Gospel, we're given a profound insight on how to free ourselves from all seven powers. The soul came to the third power, which is called ignorance. It examined the soul closely, saying, "Where are you going? Are you bound by wickedness?" And the soul said, "Why do you judge me, since I have not passed judgment?" Referencing Mary chapter 9, verses 9 through 13. It's fairly ironic for ignorance to call the soul bound by wickedness, because, of course, the one actually bound is ignorance, not the soul. Ignorance, the third power, is seeing or projecting onto the soul what it can't see or refuses to see about itself. The truth that in fact the one who is bound is the one who feels the need to judge in the first place. And then the soul reveals its ultimate superpower, non judgment. The soul asks the third power or ignorance, "Why do you judge me since I have not passed judgment?" Mary 9:14. Freedom from any of the seven powers begins with the awareness of how and when we judge, either ourselves or someone else. Because as the third power demonstrates so beautifully here, we often judge in others what is actually true about ourselves. The real power here is when we can see that there's nothing we have ever done that we actually have the right to judge. Judging what we have done only forces us to remain in the same power that caused the action we're judging. Seeing that we are human, which means making galactic mistakes, and also having a soul that can love even the worst of our actions. This is how we move away from the practice of judgment. Seeing that we are here to be human, to make mistakes, and then let love reach where it has never been before. This is a purpose, a calling, and the whole point of being here. What the soul voice meditation, what judgment can I free myself from in this moment? All right. Judgment is, for me, a deep topic. Um, for a long time, I used to hear that saying, you know, what upsets us about other people is actually something that we're struggling with in ourselves. And to a point, I do believe that's true. But at the same time, sometimes I think it's things that we've dealt with in the past that we've healed from that allows us to be able to see it in other people. So it's a it's a double-sided coin. I guess would be the best way to say it. Sometimes we judge because we don't understand where whatever we're judging comes from. Sometimes we judge because we've experienced something so much that we can see through the mask, through the illusion that other people present. Um, Sometimes I think we struggle to see something in ourselves. And so we're presented with it from an outside perspective to allow us to see it in ourselves. So I think it's deeper than, just being critical or, being judgmental of someone. Sometimes I feel like it serves a purpose. Okay. The anointed. I rise with only more soul. One of the most significant names used to identify Christ by the early group of people to document his teaching was the Greek word Christos, which means someone anointed with oil, or simply the anointed. After Mary Magdalene anoints Christ with the spikenard and washes his feet with her hair before his crucifixion, Christ says in the Gospel of Matthew, "I tell you, wherever in the whole world this good news is proclaimed, what this woman has done will be told in memory of her, referencing Matthew 26:13. When Judas is horrified that Mary wastes such an excessive amount of oil, Christ explains that it was actually good, and it was intended that Mary save this oil to prepare for his burial. It was intended. This was what had been intended all along. Mary Magdalene was the one who was meant to assist Christ in his transition from this life to the next. The ornate jar Mary holds in so many of the paintings and icons of her is filled with holy oil used to anoint the body before burial. The priests and priestesses of the Egyptian goddess Isis anointed the body as a way to assist in the transition from this life to the next while remaining conscious. And if we see the resurrection narrative as a metaphor, the anointing ritual becomes the passage from the death of the ego, the limited egoic self, into the expansive realm of the soul. This is the transformation of consciousness at the heart of the Christian tradition. And Mary Magdalene is the one who shows us the way. Anointing, then, in its original context, is the act of consciously acknowledging that the physical body passes away, but the soul within the body does not. And each time we consciously die to the ego, each time we allow ourselves to die to what we were in order to rise more aware of the soul of who we are now, we are anointed. And we do this in memory of her. The soul voice meditation. What aspect of my soul am I aware of in this moment? That very much goes with the judgment card. You know, every time we overcome a judgment of ourselves or of someone else, we grow, we learn, we we let go of that egoic part of ourselves because we're able to see that part in ourselves that we're seeing in that other person. All right, the seventh power. Anger is information. It has always felt significant to me that the rage is the seventh power. Rage can be the most derailing force in our lives. But first, it's crucial to distinguish between the rage that brings destruction and the rage that brings clarity. The oppressive need to appear good, to not express what we truly feel, forces many of us to stay stuck in the process of healing from trauma. There's a false narrative that to be spiritual, you have to be in some perpetual state of bliss or peace and never fall to the ground in a fit of rage. Being angry is human, and being human is holy. Anger is information. Anger informs us, connects us to our humanity, and reminds us of what we care most about in our lives. When we have been traumatized, there's a sacred rage that needs to be expressed in order for us to reclaim our voice. That form of rage is clarifying. It helps us begin to set boundaries as an act of love for ourselves. The difference between rage that clarifies and the rage that destroys is that one is simply experienced directly and the other is acted on. Anger informs me, but love is what I let guide me when I'm ready to take action. At the end of Mary's gospel, after Mary has shared the teachings she learned from Christ directly from within her heart, Peter doesn't believe her. He doesn't believe Mary because she is a woman and was considered less worthy in rights and power in the first century Roman Empire. Peter's rage clouds his ability to hear the truth in what Mary has to teach them. Levi, One of the other disciples confronts Peter and says, "You are always ready to give way to your perpetual inclination to anger. And even now you are doing exactly that by questioning the woman as though you're her adversary," referencing Mary chapter 9, verses 7 and 8. Peter is unable to see that it's rage that keeps him from wanting to believe Mary. The seventh power at work within him will silence and erase Mary's voice for almost 2 millennia. But as one of the seven powers of the ego, even rage is not everlasting. Only love is. The soul voice meditation. What information is my anger revealing to me at this moment? Me personally, I've learned a lot from my anger. Thankfully, I've been able to let a lot of that go. A lot of times, the different trauma that we experience makes us angry, either because we don't understand or because, it's affected our lives in one way, shape, or form. But when we really dig deep to try to understand that anger and understand where it's coming from and understand, what it's, where the deep rooted anger is, that's like the first big step to healing whatever trauma that is. Because a lot of things make us angry and we don't realize that it makes us angry. We interpret it differently. But we also let it affect how we view ourselves instead of using it to heal ourselves and grow and move forward in the process of either grieving or just growing in general. I know for a lot of us, the anger comes from different places, whether it's abuse, neglect, or just lack of something. We carry that anger around with us, and a lot of us are in denial of that anger because so many people have gotten so good at wearing a mask and denying that they have that anger at all. They use that mask as a comforter or a cover to what's really underneath. A lot of people hide their anger under a mask. Anger with ourselves, anger with our family, anger with the world around us. It very much hinders our happiness. Um, and so many people live their lives in an illusion because of that, because they wear that mask for so long that they forget that it's a mask. They believe their own lies. They believe that they're okay when in reality they're not. And just like with addiction or anything else, acknowledging it is the first step. Acknowledging that there's anger there. And then once you acknowledge it, it allows you to start trying to discover where that anger is rooted, where it comes from. Unfortunately, some people never get there. They get so comfortable in that mask, in that costume, in that illusion. Like that old saying, there's talking about people that lie. They lie so much that they start to believe their own lies. You know, they lie to themselves so much about, oh, I'm fine. It's not my fault. It's somebody else's fault. Okay, well, somebody, that might be the root of it. But in the end, it's our responsibility to overcome, to dig up that root and to analyze it and to kill it, basically, so it can't keep rerooting. It's difficult, uh, but it's part of life. Ooh, that went deep today. As always, be grateful for what you have, the big, the small, and the blessings yet to come. If you see a need out there today, tomorrow, next week, if there's any possible way that you can fill that need, please do so. You may not only better their day, but you could possibly change their life, and you never know the impact it can have on yours. Be blessed, find peace, and I'll see you next time.